Traditional patina over cold cast bronze. In today's tutorial, we're going to cover the process of creating a traditional or reactive patina over a cold cast bronze. Now, to begin with, we'll need to use what is referred to as the dusting method of creating our cold cast bronze. We're going to do that by dusting a silicone mold with a thin layer of bronze powder. And the reason we want to use this approach as opposed to actually mixing the bronze powder in with our resin, we could do that too, but one of the reasons we want to brush that into the surface is so that when we demold the resin part, we have plenty of exposed bronze to work with to get a good positive reaction with our traditional patina. Now, the benefit to this approach is later on when we demold our resin cast, that exposed bronze powder will allow the patina to react on the surface without having to sandblast or abrade the surface of our resin piece. Now, once you've dusted the surface of the mold, you're ready to return any excess powder to the container. This is a very conservative method for using a very minimal amount of bronze powder in your castings. And once we've done that, we're ready to pour some black pigmented resin behind the bronze powder. And this is just a very basic 1-to-1 mix ratio casting resin that we've added some black pigment to get a nice dark gray color once it cures. Most casting resins like this, these fast casting resins, cure a white or ivory color. So you want to add a little bit of black color to get more of a gray or brown color as a background to your cold cast bronze. If you don't do that, later on if you were to abrade too much or scuff through that surface of bronze powder, you might expose some of that bright white resin, and that will make the piece look like what it is, a piece of resin rather than a piece of bronze. Now, once we've demolded our resin part, ready to apply our traditional mint green patina. Now, one of the reasons I like to use the traditional mint green patina over a cold cast bronze like this is with a hairdryer you can cheat the effect of a hot patina. What we're going to do is use a hairdryer here, just some very mild heat. You don't want to use a heat gun and definitely not a torch, but just some mild heat with a hairdryer to help the patina set as you're applying it. With the mint green patina, if you chase it around with a hairdryer as you dab it on with a sponge or a brush, you can help it grab on to the cold cast bronze. If you don't use a hairdryer with this technique, what will happen is the patina has a tendency to bead up and roll off the surface and not grab onto the bronze underneath. So just using some mild heat as you brush that out and then stipple it into the bronze surface. And that mild heat really helps it start to react with the underlying bronze and get a good chemical reaction that binds it to that underlying cold cast bronze piece. Now, this is an acid patina and a reactive patina, so you want to take care to wear gloves. And in some cases, if you're not in a well-ventilated area, it's a good idea to wear a respirator when you're working with acid patinas. But you want to take common sense precautions anytime you're working with acid patinas. Now, you'll notice once the patina begins to dry out, the color will change slightly. You'll notice it's a little darker when it's still wet. And as it continues to dry, it'll change over to the mint green patina for which it is named. Now we're ready to abrade the surface to expose some of the bronze underneath. We let this sit for several hours to get that patina to really develop into that nice mint green color. And then we came back with some 4/0 steel wool to expose some of the bronze on the high points. Now, the mint green patina is a very aggressive patina, so in some cases the 4/0 steel wool may not be abrasive enough to really pull back that oxide, in which case you could back up to a 3/0 steel wool or even a 2/0 steel wool if you use it very sparingly. But what we want to do here is just pull back some of the oxide there to reveal that bronze underneath to get the look of an antique bronze tile. And once we've exposed the bronze that we want, we're ready to move on with our wax. And we're going to add some clear metal wax over the top to preserve that finish. Now, what we want to do here is just stipple that wax all over the surface and buff it out with a soft cloth. It just takes a little bit of the clear wax to protect that surface. And what that will do is that will protect the exposed bronze from tarnishing again. Once we've got the look that we don't want that oxide to creep back onto those areas that we burnished off. So we're going to brush that on very carefully and then use a soft cloth or paper towel to pull back any excess wax. And then we're going to allow it to dry. And again, you'll notice a color change that occurs when that wax begins to dry and cure completely. When it does, that original mint green patina will start to return to our part. Otherwise, when the wax is still somewhat in its uncured stage, we're going to have a piece that's more of a dark green. So you'll know that that wax is completely cured and dried when the patina has returned to that mint green condition. Now for this particular piece, once it dried out, I didn't feel like it was complete. It seemed to be lacking something, so I went ahead and went back with some black wax over the top. Now, normally I would do it just the opposite. I would put down the black wax first and then the clear wax. The nice thing with waxes, though, is there's no right or wrong way to apply it, just as long as the wax is the last thing you do, because once you've applied wax to a piece, you can't apply anything else over the top. So here we're just going to go back and stipple on some black wax. And again, follow the same steps like we did with the clear. We're going to put that in all of the recessed areas and then wipe back all the high points. With a soft cloth or a clean paper towel, we're going to carefully remove any excess wax and then allow the piece to dry. And just like before, when the wax has not cured yet, it has a darkening effect on the patina. So you'll notice once you've got that wax in place while the wax is curing, the patina is going to look a lot darker than it will once everything has fully cured. So don't worry, allow everything to dry out completely, and you'll notice there as the solvents evaporate out of the wax, it leaves behind our nice mint green patina. And remember that anytime you're working with reactive patinas like this, you want to be prepared to experiment and work with those patinas on some sample pieces to practice and get the look that you're going for. And of course, all of the patina supplies shown in this video are available on our web store at sculptnouveau.com.